Okay, that's live. Let's send this link out. Okay. I think we're all set. Recorder. Let's do that. Gary, good evening.
Good evening.
And I hope you had a good Christmas.
I have had an excellent Christmas. Yeah, really good.
And I must say, coming through very loud and clear tonight.
Yeah, that's courtesy of one of my Christmas presents. Some kind person brought me a Lynx 8.
And is that like my Lynx 7, just a bigger screen version?
Yeah, it's bigger screen. So I think it's the display's a bit higher resolution as well. I think because this is our 800 by 1280 native.
Right.
Which makes big. And it's it's surprisingly similar size factor to the 7-inch Toshiba I had. It's just a little bit bigger. There's not much bezel around it. There's a bit top and bottom, but the width-wise is minimal bezel, so that works quite well.
Now, Jason should be joining us shortly. We're still hoping he sobers up by some point in the next hour.
Oh yeah. He's got a little while to work it out.
In a serious session on Christmas, I think.
Yeah, well, see, that was after announcing his love of iPhones. Someone thought they better put a few drinks down him.
Yeah, that was quite a surprise. It surprised quite a few people. I saw quite a few comments about that as well on Twitter. Various people, mentioned that to him.
Yeah.
So hopefully he'll be back in time to explain that, and still time to vote as well. So we nominated our 3 products or tech highlights of the year. Yep. You picked the zero cost Windows type license, which is very pertinent to the Christmas gift.
Yep.
And I picked the Microsoft Band, and Jason picked the iPhone, which kind of threw me really. he never pre-warned me on that one.
It was a shock to the system.
Yeah, definitely. So, but there's still time to vote anyway. I'll leave the vote page open for now. And if you've got any other highlights you want to talk about, you listener, then let us know. Even if you listen on the podcast, we'll talk about them on a future show as well. Yeah. Right. So that's tech Christmas gifts. That's a good one. So the Lynx 8. That post that I did is still sort of the second or the top post every day. It has been now since November.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, good bits of kit for the money. I think comparing the 8 with the 7, there's a couple of things I've noticed that the battery life seems to be better than you're getting on your 7. Seems to last quite a bit. Obviously, they did the deal before Christmas where they upgraded it to 32 gig internal storage on the 8.
Yeah.
So that's what this one's got, which is good. So a little bit extra storage.
Well, mine's got the 32 gig. I did check that after the show.
Yeah, so I think they were doing that for both the 7 and the 8 for a limited time. And I think it's due to go back to 16 at some point.
Right. I think if you can get the 32, it's definitely worth it.
Definitely. I wouldn't go for anything less, really. Still 1 gig of RAM install, still Windows with Bing. So it said, I think it's a native 1280 by 800 panel because it doesn't seem to have that fuzziness to the text that the 7 had when I looked at it. Very clear, very quick. Seems to work really well. So yeah, I'm very pleased with it as something I wasn't expecting at all. So that's really good.
I think the videos, the first video I did, is over 35,000 views now.
Yeah, and there were some really good offers just before Christmas as well.
Yeah.
I think Staples had the Lynx 8 for some. I think it was £69, which is ridiculously low price for might have even been £59. And that also had a £30 cash back if you traded in another tablet. So,
and you get Office 365 a year's worth of personal edition, which I think costs 50 quid or something like that.
Yeah. So it's actually with the deals around at the moment, you were effectively getting the links for free if you wanted Office 365.
Yeah. It's a great little device. And I think my biggest bugbear really was the battery life. So if the 80s fixes that, then it could be a winner.
And with the announcement this last week about because we get the terabyte of OneDrive storage with this, and they've said that even when you're not paying for that, you can still have all the stuff stored on it. You just can't upload anything new to it.
Oh, I see. So if you've got so you've got Office 365 and you use a terabyte, which is going to be difficult, I would imagine. But
Yeah.
but if you upload lots of videos and photos and things, but then if you're not, as your subscription expires, you can still keep the data.
Yeah, yes, right. They've said that in the last few days. So that's quite impressive, really.
Yeah, really nice device, and it's we talked about the tech highlights last week, and the thing you said about zero cost licensing. I think I've got to admit that it has made a huge impact, and it's what's good though is we're not just seeing really cheap rubbish; we're actually seeing usable tablets.
Yeah, really good. We mentioned the Now TV app last week, and I was saying it wasn't working very well for me on my big screen, but it works exceedingly well on this. I was using it while I was travelling this week and watching a couple of films. So kept some young relatives really well entertained with watching Frozen on it. So they wanted to know where their TV had gone when I left.
I mean, that's what I like about it. Is it's for media consumption. I use it for Netflix and Plex and iPlayer. You can just stick anything in.
Yeah, I think it's a great companion device. It really is. It's not. I mean, you can do constructive stuff on it. I've done some programming on it. For a laugh, I installed Visual Studio on it, and it does work. But it does work, and you can actually do stuff with it if you've got a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse screen. And obviously, it's got the micro HDMI port in it, so it could become it's a pretty powerful atom-based processor in there, isn't it? It's one of the new generation ones. It's
not your grandfather's.
Yeah, indeed. I'll let you use the line. But yeah, but it works. I mean, and it's certainly a very good Windows 8 device. Very, very responsive, and I've been really impressed with it. I mean, I'm even getting on with the desktop on it, even though it's a tiny screen. I think just being that 8 inches just makes it a little bit more easy to use than I was finding with, say, the 7-inch devices I was trying. But yeah, that's really good.
And I recorded a follow-up video, which just showing a few other things running on it, and I put Minecraft on it, and I only put the demo on it, but it worked. So if you plug a USB or a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse with it, you can actually play Minecraft on it. So you've got and it's the full version of Minecraft, not Pocket Edition, which, according to my kids, makes a huge difference.
So the only thing I found disappointing with the 8-inch compared to 7-inch, I think the 7-inch comes with a USB to go cable in the box.
I can't remember. Yes, you might be right. Yeah.
Whereas the 8-inch, well, at least the one I got didn't have that in the box, and it wasn't listed in the content. So I'm sort of trying to find a USB to go cable which actually work, because what I've got, which I used to use with one of the Nexuses, doesn't work for some reason. So, which is disappointing. So I'm hoping I can find one which does work with it.
Yeah, and there's no separate. Is there a separate micro HDMI on that one, or is it built?
There is a separate micro HDMI on there, so that's good. Yeah, which I like a lot.
Yeah. That was pretty good, because that's what I was playing about the other day, and I connected up to my big TV here, so I had Bluetooth keyboard, and it worked. It worked pretty well, actually. So I was trying Minecraft on it, and it actually did work. So, it's very good to see, and I think it has made a huge difference.
I also got Miracast working with it as well, which I was really pleased with. Yeah,
that's good, because I think I don't know whether I did talk about the streaming stick, didn't I, that I tested before Christmas. So I've also been trying the Roku 3 as well. In fact, I just recorded the video of that today, so that'll probably out end of this week, beginning of next week, and that Miracast works well on there as well. So it's another way of getting your tablet up onto the TV. It's a nice, easy way. I've been impressed with the Miracast, actually, from Windows and Windows Phone. It works pretty well. And what I've done is left the Roku streaming stick plugged directly into my TV, and then as soon as I want to show something up on the screen, you can just say, I'll show you. And it works really well.
Yeah, it does seem to work exceedingly well. I was very, very pleased with that.
Yeah. I can hear myself. So that's weird. Why is that? Have you loaded something up?
No, not me. Not changed anything anyway.
That's really strange. That's very off-putting for him, myself, in my own.
Yeah,
Oh, it's gone now.
oh well, Skype playing up, I guess.
Yeah, we've not had that for a while, have we, Skype? Yeah, well, so I was saying, yeah, the Roku, Roku devices work really well, actually, with the Miracasting. I've been quite pleased with that. It's a nice way of you just show things off, and also the other thing that the Roku's have got is Play On as well, Play On Roku. So you can have the Windows app, the Windows Phone app, or the Windows app, or Android, and you can browse content from your phone and play that up on the TV as well.
Yeah,
I think the Roku devices seem to be, if you're Windows orientated, seem to be the best set-top box. If you're a Windows user, they seem to be the best one so far. Aside from the Xbox, which is a whole other thing, there isn't a Microsoft set-top box, and so I think Roku is probably your best option.
Yeah, I think in the UK you've also got the option of going for the Now TV thing if you happen to have that subscription or want to go that way, and that does a lot of the same things the Roku box does at a fantastically low price over Christmas. I think Dixon's group were doing them for £12, including 3 months entertainment pass, which is incredibly cheap.
Yeah.
So, and that's basically a Roku 2, I think.
Yeah.
Obviously, the firmware is not quite so expansive, and you don't get things like Netflix on it, but it can run Plex on it, so it can become a Plex client.
Yeah, and did I read that you can sort of hack them if you know what you're doing?
Yeah, you can. Well, you very easily hack them, put Plex client on them, and once you've got Plex client on them, you open up everything else to it basically. So
yeah,
it's a very good £10 worth of purchase.
Yeah, definitely. Interesting. The Roku 3 comes with a remote control that's got the headphone. I probably mentioned this last time.
I really love that idea. I think that's a great idea. I think that's the almost worth spending the extra money on, so you can have that sort of private, quiet time.
Yeah,
don't disturb your kids.
Yeah, that's it. I was pretty impressed with that, and it's gyroscopic as well, so you can play Angry Birds and it uses the things as a mouse.
Oh, I like that. I hadn't noticed that. That's a good idea.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. So what other devices have you been playing with? I was just going to say on that topic of sort of Windows devices, then the only thing that's missing, there's no Xbox music or video service. So really the only way is to Miracast. Yeah.
But you can Miracast those, which works really well. I was doing that last night with a film I happened to have from way back, which I bought on the Xbox, and obviously pops up on the Xbox services when you say you cover purchases, which is quite amusing.
Right, yeah.
So I was playing that over Miracast, and that worked really well. I was actually quite surprised that worked over Miracast, because I'd heard some queries on protected content with Xbox Video, but it did seem to work.
Mm. Yeah, that's good. I just think, that's one thing I'd like to see Microsoft going forward. One of the not predictions for 2015, but wishes for 2015 is that Microsoft would get Xbox Music and Xbox Video on more devices, and the number one request being Sonos. It's really frustrating that I can live with the fact that there isn't a Sonos app for Windows Phone because I just use another device. But I've got an Xbox Music subscription, and I can't use it on the Sonos.
Yeah.
Without, well, I have kind of found a way. You can go to a PC and then use the sort of the Play 2.
Yeah.
But all I really want is the service to be there. I mean, I think Jason made the point last week. It's got Blinkbox on there from Blinkbox Music, and so it's not that it's the volume of subscribers or anything like that. It's just they need to get I don't know whether it's something to do with Microsoft or whatever, but that's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see Xbox Music and Video on Roku, on Sonos, and just get them everywhere and make them as omnipresent as like Spotify.
Yeah.
And so that's one of my wishes for next year, that they do that, so I can get a bit more value out of my Xbox Music subscription. Although having said that, I do like it on the Xbox, and putting the videos on, I think that's quite good. So songs that you have in your collection, if there's a video available on Xbox Music, it'll play that instead of just the music.
Yeah, there's some really nice tricks in there, which I do like a lot.
Yeah.
I did have an interesting problem though the last couple of days with Windows 10 actually. And it's one of the reasons I was playing this film on Miracast, because I couldn't get it to play on my Windows 10 device. And it was coming up with the old can't get license information, or can't check for license for this content. And thinking back about it, it's probably because I had to change the processor on my PC some time ago, but it hadn't popped up at all. And it took me ages to work out how to get around the problem, because a lot of the tools which are out there for the original version just don't work anymore.
Right. Yeah.
So the sort of things, some of the tricks you used to do about reset DRM, that app doesn't work. Well, it does, and you basically have to hunt this out. But the trick is to use something like WinZip or WinRAR to actually extract that file to its component parts. And then there's a program called Clean DRM in there. And if you run Clean DRM -V in a command line, it will actually reset your DRM and then do a reboot. And it does seem to then sort itself out in Windows 10. And I was then able to play the content again. But it was a bit difficult to track that down, as you might expect.
Yeah, I noticed an interesting problem with Windows 10 that sometimes if you come to use the browser version of Netflix, it says due to content protection issues, this won't play when you install this or see this knowledge base article.
Mm-hmm.
And you restart the browser and it still doesn't do it. So I thought, oh, maybe I need some update, but I did a reboot anyway and it worked fine. So it's like there's something, but it does it every now and again. So it's like something crashes and then it won't play that protected content. Maybe it's Silverlight or something. They're still using Silverlight?
It could be Silverlight, yeah. I mean, they are still using Silverlight, some of the bits. I'm not quite sure. I mean, they're talking about Silverlight on being available even more now, because they're using they've actually announced it for use on Azure. So I think they're moving back towards that. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Silverlight actually available throughout Windows 10 in terms of the video playback side of things. So that might actually become a bit easier.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll ever see Silverlight on the Windows RT 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just crazy, isn't it, that you've got, I've got the Surface here, but Silverlight's not available for it.
Yeah.
But Netflix works on it, so they must be using something else anyway. On that.
Well, just while we're on the subject of Miracast, I've been playing with something. I heard about it on Josh Pollard's show, Entertainment 2.0. It's a product called AirServer. I'm trying to remember the airserver.com, very easy to remember. And it's basically a Miracast and AirPlay receiver for a Windows PC.
That's good.
And I've been running it on my big PC, on my I suppose HTPC or whatever you want to call it, but the one I've got in my living room, basically. And it works really well. I'm actually very impressed with it. And it seems to work better than my actual Miracast dongle does, which is a bit crazy.
So this is a Miracast target, in fact, or server.
Yeah, so it's a target for, and you can get a 7-day trial to try it out on, and it just seems to work. It's also got a Mac version as well, which I found quite useful. It just seems to do the job.
Oh, that's nice. So it's a bit of sort of just easy way of screen sharing then.
Yeah, and it kicks in when you actually want to use it to kick in. It sort of gives you a pop up on the screen to say, which you can choose not to use, to say it's going to switch over to AirServer when you start miracasting to it and take over your screen, or you can get it just to do it immediately. So I'm so far very impressed with it. I haven't actually found a problem with it at all. So
yeah, it's quite. If you've got a home theatre PC or PC hooked up to your TV, then it's definitely worth looking at.
Yeah, it saves plugging something into an HDMI port. It's just my HDPC is on virtual all the time, so it would just make sense. Yeah. I used to have a similar thing plugged into working in Media Center, but that was always a bit inconvenient because you had to switch over to it and get it in the right place. Whereas this just seems to work.
Yeah, oh, that's a really good idea, then.
Yeah, and AirPlay works really well with it as well. So full blown Apple AirPlay, and I haven't tried any DRM content yet to see if that would work, but.
Yeah, I
I'll
tried.
give that a go at some point.
There was a Windows Media Center AirPlay add-in I used to use, and that always seemed to work okay. Hello. Oh,
Hello,
are you back?
I'm back. I don't quite know what happened there. It said the distant caller has dropped on my screen, which is the first time I've ever seen that come up. I don't know where that came from.
You should go to the operator. Hello, I'd like a long distance call, please. um, yeah, I'll include a link for that in the show notes then, because that sounds a nice solution, especially if you've got a mixture of devices.
Yeah. One of the things it does do, which I was about to say about, and I'm not sure how well this will work with DRM content or what, it has an option to record the content.
Right, yeah.
So if you right click the mirroring screen, you can actually then record it.
Yeah, so that would be a way of copying content.
Yeah, potentially. So, I mean, obviously, I'm not in favour of that, but
it's all right if you're doing a presentation or something, though, isn't it? And you can sort of copy it and store it for later, or a podcast even, and record it. And yeah, for later playback. It's a good idea. It's good. It's good that these sort of you find these third-party solutions some often work better than the official sort of proper ways of doing them.
Yeah, I'm just saying I'm quite impressed with it so far. It sits in the system tray, and you've got loads of settings on it you can choose and things. And it's really quite impressive. You can also choose to rebroadcast as well, which is quite an interesting concept. So you can sort of rebroadcast the AirPlay coming in to other devices. Not quite. So there's a lot of quite clever stuff on it.
Yeah, I like the idea of that. Now, so we'll wait for Jason to talk about sort of end of year vote anyway to look back on that. So we'll catch up on a few things in the news. It's been a while since we actually just recorded a normal news show. So did I mention some of the Microsoft Band customizing apps last time we talked?
We did mention the Christmas backgrounds. You're rocking.
Yeah, that's it, right. Which I've lost now, which I've removed now because Christmas is over. Time to take the tree down almost. I like to take my tree down as soon as I can. So I mentioned that it's called Pimp My Band. Now it's had a couple of updates since we last talked, and it's now you can change the colours and things like that. But there's another app that I wanted to mention, one called Unband, which is actually a Windows desktop app, a ClickOnce app actually, and it allows you to change the backdrop, a bit like the other app did, but more interestingly, you can actually export the data out of the band, which is something that so far Microsoft don't enable any way for you to get that data out there. So it is totally locked in there. And you can extract all the activity data basically. So that includes run, exercises, sleep, all that kind of thing. And it includes like start time, end time, heart rate, all the data that you can view from the app itself, but you can export them out as a CSV file. And then you can open them in Excel, and I open my sort of sleep patterns. Interesting to see your sleep patterns and things. Because I know that quite a lot of people that like to track their runs with other services were a bit frustrated that this data was sort of locked away on the Microsoft Band.
Yeah.
So this is an option, although it doesn't give you sort of it didn't seem to extract the GPS data or anything like that. So I know that's particularly what some people use it for running wanted to do is to record the run itself. This gives you the run time, the heart rate during the time, and that sort of data rather than the actual GPS data. Or it seems anyway, but maybe the developer could do some more to it. But it's nice to see a few of these third-party apps cropping up for the Microsoft Band.
Yeah, it's definitely good.
They still don't seem to have any in stock though in the States. What you see, I saw sort of one or two people saying they got one, but I think they seem to have run out of stock on those.
Again.
Yeah. Although I think, as you said previously, I think they're tending to make very small, manufacture very small numbers of them.
Yes, yeah.
And they're not making huge amounts. Hopefully, it'll be in time. That's another request for 2015 is that they open it up and make a bit more of an ecosystem of it and release the band worldwide, and maybe like link those apps in with other services and allow other bands like Fitbit or whatever to link back with the Microsoft Health app rather than tying the app to the band. Open it all up.
Excellent idea.
Yeah, that's something to watch. I mean, that's one of the things. We'll come back to that to talk about 2015, but obviously wearables is definitely going to be a big thing talking about because of just the fact that Apple of the iWatch or Apple Watch.
Mm.
Now, one other one mentioned. Oh, that's a ping from Jason. Hello, he says. So let's bring Jason.
Let's bring Jason in.
Add to the call. And there we go.
This is where you say, and that's all we have time for.
Yeah, I'll do that one. Hello.
Hello.
And that was a great show, that Gary. Thanks very much, and we'll see you later.
Shocking tidiness.
You should have. What a first half hour we've had.
Oh, brilliant.
Best ever.
The best part of the show. It's all downhill from now.
Yeah. So glad you could join us, Jason. Hope you had a good Christmas.
Yes, I think so. It's been a bit of a whirlwind.
Yeah, well,
yes.
we did explain your late start was the fact it's just about getting over your hangover from Christmas Day. It's a big session.
Yeah, absolutely. No, my youngest was ill leading up to Christmas. Well, my eldest was ill leading up to Christmas. My youngest was ill over Christmas, and my wife's got sick after Christmas. So,
fantastic!
It's all been good. Yeah. It's been a Christmas to remember.
Gary, I think we should drop the call now, don't you? Yeah. We don't want. You don't want anything picking up over Skype.
No, definitely not. I don't think Skype's quite introduced that technology just yet.
Yeah, it's on the way. So we just started talking about Gary's Christmas present, which was the Lynx 8, which sounds a great tablet. Now we're just on some of the news items. Then we'll sort of talk future stuff and review stuff in the last half hour of the show. Anything you want to? So any gadgets or anything that you want to tell us about from your side over Christmas?
No, Yes, yeah. Although that was a business purchase, but the main gadget I got was the Microsoft Wedge keyboard to go with the Surface for when I'm using it in the docked setup. So so I shall hope to be getting to use that quite a bit.
I saw the Wedge mouse actually when I was in PC World over the weekend. It's the first time I've seen it. It's an unusual design, but it actually seems to, when I was playing with it, it seemed to work quite well actually. You could imagine that being quite useful.
Yeah, I did look at that, and I'm not too sure on the shape. As you say, it's a very unusual shape. It's kind of almost like a wedge of cheese. But yeah, I don't know how comfortable it would be to use, but I'm sure they've done some ergonomic studies on it.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of Microsoft mouse and keyboards. And when you go to somewhere like PC World, it's got quite a range of devices.
Yeah, I think. I mean, the one thing I have noticed is that the mouse on the keyboard for the Surface Pro 3 is so much smoother compared to the Type 2 keyboard. They've definitely improved that. It's nice to have that actual clicky button rather than just a bit like on the same on the Lumia 2520. It's got the mouse pad, but then the actual buttons don't press. So when you're not really paying attention, it's really easy for your fingers to kind of wander off, and you're kind of pressing it, thinking you're pressing it, and because you're used to not getting any feedback from it, it can be a bit frustrating. Yeah,
I mean that's as I mentioned back from when I first got my Surface 2. The Surface 2 keyboard, the mouse is the worst part of it. The rest of it is great, but the left and right click aren't brilliant.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Although I'm reluctant to say it, but using the Surface Pro 3, which is kind of my first proper Intel, obviously a Core i7 model I've got, Intel Windows 8 PC. it really does make you appreciate that actually Windows RT is still a bit laggy. You're scrolling through the MSN News app, and it is just so buttery smooth on a Core i7 compared to the Surface 2 or even on the Lumia. It's you kind of get used to it, and you don't really notice it. And it's not, it doesn't detract from the experience, but actually when you use something that is that buttery smooth, you do realise that there isn't quite that fit and finish on the ARM tablets.
Yeah, so if you go back to the Surface 2, you can tell a difference.
Yeah, and like I say, it's not something that you'd kind of go, oh, I just can't use that, but it does make you appreciate that the performance of ARM isn't quite up there. I mean, I know I'm comparing it to a Core i7, but it does show there is that lag that you wouldn't expect. I mean, scrolling through a modern app shouldn't be dependent on a Core i7 processor. It should be just as smooth on a Core i3 or on an ARM processor, but there does seem to be that still that gap.
Yeah, it's I wonder whether Windows 10 will see that sort of optimized better.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, certainly if it could do away with, because there's so many potentially background, old traditional Windows services that make Windows work, but you kind of wonder whether or not on a modern device, whether or not all those services are really necessary. A phone gets by perfectly well without them. I'm sure there are other services there, but we all know Windows comes with a lot of baggage that isn't necessarily needed for a modern tablet where you just using modern apps and browsing the web, etc.
That leads to one of the sort of rumors that I saw this week, is that Windows 10 will feature 2 versions of Internet Explorer. I've heard various flavors of this rumor. Have you heard that?
I saw Mary Jo Foley's piece. I did manage to catch up on a lot of old news last night, and yeah, it does. I mean, it certainly does make sense that in modern devices, you don't necessarily need the brute force of the old Internet Explorer. And I think sometimes it does make sense to go back to the drawing board, as you evolve, more modern operating systems, and I'm talking about tablets and phones, you don't necessarily need all the old backwards compatibility. And it does seem to sound like that Internet Explorer 11 will be there for those sites that don't function on that new browser.
Yeah. I wonder if that's going to support Silverlight, as we were talking about earlier, Ian.
Yes, that would make sense if they did include that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think I saw a commentary by Paul Thurrott, and he was saying that he had heard that this new browser should support its extensibility, because one of the frustrations for me on ARM is that LastPass can't integrate with the browser, and LastPass have integrated their own browser, which I presume uses some kind of built-in Windows API, but the websites never quite seem to load or respond quite as well as they do in the native browser.
Yeah, and I wonder. So there'll be sort of 2 rendering engines, perhaps, and 1 browser, or will there be two browsers and 2 rendering engines, or
one rendering engine is what I've heard, but it's difficult to tell.
Because in Windows 8, you've got 2 browsers, haven't you? But in Windows 10, the current tech preview, it only has a single browser. There is no full screen browser.
Yeah.
And will we see the full screen browser return?
Well, we've got the consumer stuff coming up shortly, and I can't see that the tablet SKU or the mobile SKU of this is going to not have a full screen browser of some sort.
Yeah,
I think it definitely makes more sense. I think certainly on those kind of devices, our wish is that we see the desktop get removed or almost completely if possible.
Yeah, so something like Gary's new Lynx 8 tablet, you don't want the desktop version of IE on there, really. You want the full screen experience. But then on a laptop, maybe you want to have the option of both.
Yeah. Do you think, actually, just going back to that, do you think we're going to get a Windows 10 upgrade for these small tablets?
It's interesting I don't know, because it's going to be the effectively the Windows mobile SKU, isn't it? And it's a good point that I can see for the Intel ones, well, why not? But I'm not sure.
I mean, and the other difficulty is obviously the way the operating system's installed on these devices, using the Windows 8 compressed image format thing. So you'd have to get a replacement for that as a Windows 10 one. It wouldn't be a straight upgrade.
Yes, and especially the ones with the 16 gig drive, is probably not even going to have space to download a full Windows 10 image, compress it, replace the original and so on. Back up.
You need another Win boot to replace it effectively for the 10. It's going to be
Mm.
very intriguing to see how that works.
Whether or not it could support some kind of external storage, a bit like they've just introduced on Windows Phone, that you could use like a micro SD card or an external USB drive to actually hold the temporary installation files.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you saw, digressing slightly, but Ed Bott had a post over the Christmas period where I think it was his top 6 utilities, and one of the ones he mentioned is actually a utility that retrospectively creates that WIM installation image. So if you've got a Windows tablet that hasn't got that technology, but it's been upgraded to Windows 8.1 update, this particular bit of software can actually free up some disk space by compressing the Windows installation files the Windows files into that WIM image.
Cool.
Post install. Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it was quite cool. I mean, unfortunately, I really need it on my Lumia. Is it's not going to work, but it's certainly something that, if you bought maybe a smaller Surface 2 device or a smaller Surface Pro 3 device, that could certainly be worthwhile looking into.
Yeah, that on my Encore 8, because that's that hasn't got the compressed image, so that would be useful to put that on.
Yeah.
To tell you another thing I picked up on over the break when I was playing around with Windows 10 when I had to do my reinstall. Have you noticed that now that the Storage Sense app has now got save locations in it? But they all say so it's got things like save new pictures to, save new music to, etc., etc. But they all only have, on my one at least, they only have one item in the drop down, which is this PC. I wonder what else they're going to put in there.
Yeah, so maybe that would be the feature, like just as Windows Phone, where you can save your music to the SD card or to the phones. It would be that exact option, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'd like to see it have a save location for apps, which it doesn't have, unfortunately. That's something they really need to sort out with Windows 10.
They definitely need to do that.
Yeah, I mean, that would be great. For the small tablets, that's exactly the issue, isn't it? Especially if you get a big game or something like that, there's no option but to install it onto the main hard drive.
Well, I thought about that last night because I was going to download a film to my tablet to take with me for the trip I was doing today, and I suddenly realised it was actually going to take all my storage up. Would have none left with one film on it.
Yeah.
You could potentially work around that if you've got a micro SD card in there. If you set within your video library with the Windows libraries for videos, if you set your default save location to be that micro SD card, it should download it straight to there.
I'll give that a go, see what it does.
The only thing I did find because I've got my Lumia set up that way, but I think it might download the file to like the local to some kind of temporary space and then copy it over once it's done. But it's certainly something to worth try.
Yeah, that would actually work for me because I've got enough space to copy it down. It's just the fact I wouldn't have any space afterwards.
Got you. Yeah. So if you set your default save location, or even if you go to the videos folder and choose properties location and set it to the micro SD card, then that would also work.
Yeah, I mean that's another topic. We'll talk about these sort of topics for next year. But obviously, 2015 is the year of Windows 10, and it's interesting that even at this stage, really, we don't know quite what to expect on the consumer side of things.
Yeah, actually, so just while we're talking about Xbox Video, in my case, I've got some movies that I purchased through Xbox Video and downloaded. And you don't have connection speeds here, so I don't like to keep downloading them. So what I've done previously is just moved the micro SD card or copied the files between when I switched from the Surface 2 to the Lumia, just copied them over, and they played absolutely fine. But the Surface Pro 3 says that the certificate had expired.
So that
it won't play them. It just says the certificate has expired. Re-download, which isn't what I want to do. It's a movie's about 6 or 7 gig. That's for me. That's a 24-hour period almost. Not quite, but
I wonder if it's tied to the OS signatures as the
that's
Surface
what I wondered.
2 and the Lumia being RT.
Yeah, that's what I did wonder.
Yeah, and if you download it to a Surface 3 and then you took it and put it in another Intel machine, it might be okay.
Yes, certainly, possibly.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that that I know you have an interest in as well is I was saying to Gary, I really wish that Microsoft would open up Xbox Video and Xbox Music to third-party devices like Roku and Sonos and everything else. And I'd like to see that Xbox Video just more accessible from more devices.
Yeah. One interesting rumor I did pick up on is it does look like there is actually a first-party Sonos app coming for Windows.
Really?
Mm.
Yes, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and I've had that sort of semi-confirmed. So I won't say who by, but but yeah. So that's how long away I'm not sure, but that certainly sounded interesting.
Interesting enough, the Sonos support kind of who hinted it that I saw had hinted it was coming. Basically said, but in the meantime, use the Phonos app, which I noticed you posted about, Ian.
Yeah. Which I've been using, and I think apart from the startup speed, it's actually pretty useful. I just have an issue with that. It takes a while for it to sort of pick up your Sonos. So if you wanted to pause it, you could be waiting. It feels like a minute, but just to pause it. Whereas with the Android app, it's instant.
Yeah, I'm doubtful they'll actually be able to solve that for the main app either, unless they do some very clever stuff. Because a lot of that's down to the way that Wi-Fi that works on Windows.
If it was just some kind of background service or maybe something like that, I guess I don't know. But I said the main thing I want to see is Xbox Music on the Sonos, and that's not going to be fixed. Even with the Windows app, wouldn't fix that really, would it? And for some Xbox Music subscribers, that's what that use Sonos. That's what we want to see.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Now, just before we just talk about some of the stuff for next year and our vote, the results of our vote, a couple of news items I do want to mention. We talked about using Plex before, but since we last recorded, Plex have released the Plex client for the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4, so it's another option to get Plex up onto your big screen. So they have got a good system now, good variety of clients on there. So it's a pretty rich ecosystem they've got now. So if you can't use Plex to connect to the PlayStation Network or whatever, so if you can't use your PlayStation to play on the PlayStation Network because it's been denial of service, you can perhaps use Plex on it.
Yes. Yeah, that was a bit of a mess on Christmas Day, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know if you talked about that already.
No, we haven't. No.
I think both PlayStation Network and Xbox Live were both down, and it seems to me like there's been some discussions within the hacker community basically saying, look, you've basically ruined Christmas for a few kids, don't do it again.
And then you get those sort of the scaremongering news reports of cyber attacks and hacks and it's just denial of service, isn't it? That's all it was. But
yeah, I think things got quite intense on Twitter from what I saw with people saying that Microsoft and Sony really need to compensate everybody. My son has been given a £400 box for Christmas and can't use it. He's been planning for months which games he's going to play online with his mates on Christmas Day, and which I can certainly imagine that it's a big deal, but I think at the end of the day it's not like it was been for months or weeks kind of thing. It was just one day, but I can
spend the time with your family.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you got plenty of time for Xbox.
Although I noticed I never noticed any problems, and I didn't really play mine much, but the kids were playing on Minecraft on the Xbox and didn't seem to have any issues with it.
No, I think we didn't seem to have any problem. I just wonder if it was actually the setting up of new consoles.
Oh, yes, and that may be related. Just maybe related to the problem I did have on Christmas morning. I got son's new laptops. It took me about an hour to get one of the password resets working.
Got you.
So I came to I set one of the laptops up, no problem. I come to my other son, so right, okay, what's your Windows Live account? My what? Your email account that you use for your phone and for your Surface. Don't know. Okay, that's all right. I'll find that for you. Okay, we've got that. Okay, what's your password for your phone? What password? No, the password that you put in your phone. I don't have a password. Of course you have a password. And it went on like this for a few minutes. And yeah, he couldn't remember his password. A password reset, which I'd set an alternate email address as my address, so that if he lost his password, it would be emailed to me. And he just never sent me the email. And that was probably 9 o'clock on Christmas morning. And by 11 o'clock, it still hadn't reset the password. And I thought I'd done something wrong. And I went through sort of doing the further recovery, and I couldn't get past the captcha. It just would never work. It would always say I was entering the wrong characters, even though we were passing this laptop around saying, "What do you think that is?" Trying to work out the captcha graphics. Anyway, tried it again about 7 o'clock, and it worked first time. So I guess that was something to do with it as well.
Yes, yeah, possibly. I mean, I know we were having problems even just purchasing stuff. My son got some credit for his PS Vita, and he couldn't purchase, and even the free content wouldn't let him purchase it. Actually, we haven't tried today, but yeah, it certainly was a bit of a mess. But unfortunately, that's what kids get kicks out of these days.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I've got to say, lads are very happy with their laptops. They're up and running on Minecraft, learning what a LAN is, and opening ports and things like that. You're funny when you hear him saying, "Right, open your LAN up."
So does that mean the surfaces won't get used very much?
Yeah, that's right. Although what they do now is they have YouTube on the Surface playing Minecraft while playing Minecraft on the laptop. And then you're probably a different one on the phone at the same time as well.
Yeah.
So they're multitasking now. Yeah, I think the laptops are going to get a lot more use. They're nice laptops as well. The HP ones, they've got slightly different ones.
Oh, the Stream ones.
No, they weren't the Stream. They were, I think they were the Pavilions. Sort of one's a 15 and one's a 16-inch one. So, but the Stream have had some good reviews actually. I've seen that quite a few people say they're quite a decent laptop.
Yeah, I mean, I've certainly seen good reviews of them. My frustration was I was looking around. It's currently, I think it's only the blue one. I think that seems to be available mostly in the UK at the moment.
Yeah, you can't sensibly be able to get the other colours very easily.
No.
And that goes back to what we were saying at the beginning of the show, really, that the licensing changes, and we've seen some quite actually fairly decent low-cost Windows tablets now and laptops.
Yes, yeah, and I think I saw a story. I think it was today or yesterday that apart from Samsung and Apple, that Microsoft's Windows phones were the top seller.
Yes, I saw that, and I think that's it was on activations, wasn't it, or something like that?
Yes, yeah. Which I think Gary's mentioned that before, hasn't he? That if you take purely on manufacturer, that it's Microsoft actually aren't that far behind.
Yeah.
Yeah, because who else is there? There's LG, Motorola, HTC. There's smaller players, aren't they, below the sort of the giant of Apple and Samsung.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, did you see that other rumor going around again today that Android could be back on the horizon for Windows Phone, Android apps?
I saw the headline. I haven't had a chance to catch up and read it yet.
Yeah, I've not read the full story. I just saw that, but it's kind of, I think it's something that's cropped up quite a few times, isn't it? That Microsoft are looking at that. What I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. That's going to be a good or bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, my only real big concern there is just the fact that what message does that send to Windows developers? Is there any point in developing Windows apps if you can just develop for one platform?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I think my hope is, I'm not a developer, but from what I read, my hope is that these kind of cross-platform tools are going to be the way forward. That you maybe write an app once, and you can use things like Xamarin and things like that to just compile across platforms.
Maybe that's where the story is coming from. It's not so much just the actual running of Android, but maybe it's a better porting system. Do you think, Gary?
I'm actually quite keen to see this, actually, because I think it'll might actually grow the market more for Windows apps, because if you actually look at some of the cross-platform stuff that's done recently, which has been done in browser things, it tends to lead to a very poor experience, which then gets moaned about, and then people actually realise that they've actually got a lot of people moaning about their app, and perhaps they ought to do a Windows app. And certainly that's where I've got quite a bit of business from recently. So I think it might actually be an advantage for Windows developers rather than a disadvantage, because we're not getting much more work on the Windows side at the moment anyway. So anything which drives content to there, and it would get around that problem of having apps which you just can't get hold of. But from what I can see, it is going to be some sort of emulator if they do it. It might even be the streaming technology they've been talking about, streaming apps to the phone. So maybe curated content, only certain apps work on it. Because you're going to have all sorts of hardware issues and things not actually being there, which you all expect. And I mean, just running Android apps doesn't actually mean you're actually going to get a good experience. So it'll be an interesting thing to see how they do it.
And again, I guess this comes back to maybe something we'll see in Windows 10.
Yeah, I think what I don't know where we are going to go with Windows 10. I mean, they have said that that's the streaming technology is probably only going to be used for games in Windows 10. So, but we'll see. Perhaps maybe we'll get some more on this at the end of the month.
Yeah. So let's look forward then. We'll look at our vote results shortly, but let's look forward at this sort of the next year. So, really, what kind of things do you think we're going to see from? Start with Microsoft for 2015. Who wants to go first?
Go on, Gary.
2015. What are we going to see? Windows 10. But I'm not quite sure what we're going to see with Windows 10, which is really intriguing, to be honest. I mean, normally by this stage on the consumer side, I have a far more reasonable idea as to what would be actually coming out.
Yeah.
So and we really don't know anything until this announcement. Well, we've got some ideas, the Continuum stuff and the way things will work, but we still don't really know how that's going to work and how it's all going to pull together. So I think it's going to be really intriguing. And whether Windows 10, the Windows Mobile 10, whatever it's going to be called, is going to lead to different device types and that whole aspect. I mean, whether RT is going to survive and what the program, and for me particularly, what the development cycle is going to be like. How are we going to find that we've got an opening out of the Universal apps? Are we going to suddenly be able to do things in the desktop with them we couldn't do before? Which would be great. I mean, maybe they'll open that sandbox up a bit. I'd love to see that. So yeah, it's a really interesting challenge.
And Jess, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, what Gary said.
That's what I'm going to say as well.
Yeah, I think I mean, from my side, I think mostly the kind of follow the Windows 10 story, but really the mobile side of it. So Windows 10 for phones and Windows 10 for maybe will we see it for RT devices? Will there be a Surface Mini? I really hope so. I think that'd be quite nice to see. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with the Xbox. That certainly made massive leaps forward over this year, so it'll be interesting to see where they go with that next year, and obviously again with that potentially running Windows 10 and what apps might we see come across onto there. So yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting. I would like to see next year be the year that Xbox Music introduces some kind of way of integrating your own music into the library. And maybe have that music available without a subscription, even if it doesn't necessarily upgrade to the higher MP3 rate. I don't know, but that's certainly something that I'd be really keen to see. Yeah,
definitely. Just like how Google Music works, where it's if you haven't got the subscription, it's just all your music. Even if it's not matched, it uploads the actual audio file.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
that's what I like.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree with that. Interesting to see, you mentioned Xbox. I did see an interesting tweet from Charlie Owen, former Media Center, Mr. Media Center at Microsoft and friend of the show. He tweeted that he said sort of retweet if you agree that Microsoft should just buy Seaton and include the Seaton technology in the Xbox One. Which is, quite interesting to see. So obviously Charlie's no longer at Microsoft, but that would boost and kickstart the cable card thing for the Xbox. Anyway, I mean, here in the UK, we've got we've already got the tuner. So yeah, I agree with you. I'd like to see the Xbox take a step forward with some of the media integration stuff. So I've basically add recording. I think that would be a great idea. Already the iPlayer app's pretty good. So if you've got bandwidth, then so I'd like to see them expand some of those media capabilities of the Xbox One. They've started. So this time last year we didn't have those features, like the DLNA player and whatever, and Plex. Now we've got those. So I think the Xbox One could take a step forward.
Yeah.
What about sort of wearable stuff? Do you think Microsoft? How do you think we'll see more from Microsoft on that front?
I would imagine maybe we might see the band, either a version 2 of the product, or that product opened up to more markets, perhaps.
Actually, I forgot to mention to Gary. Did you see that? Haven't Pebble done something? So you've got sort of more Android-like notifications on there now.
Yeah. So I forgot. I meant to mention this last time, but I think this is absolutely amazing. They've actually done this. They've basically implemented the full Android Wear notification system.
Yeah, there you go.
So you can, if your app supports Android Wear, then the Pebble supports it now. And it will allow you to do all the responses you can do on Android Wear. Obviously, you can't use voice control, but you've got all the button presses have been implemented. So, I mean, fortunately, at the moment, Android Wear has very simple interactions on it, so they can implement it with a few button presses, which works exceptionally well. People are able to respond with text-to-text messages with sort of canned responses the same way as they can on Android Wear, and lots of other options as well. But very impressive.
So, do you think we talked about the man before? So do you think we'll see the band make it over here?
I'm hesitant whether they actually do that. I know it depends really, because it has been more successful than I think they thought it would be. So in some ways, I wouldn't be surprised to see them push it out a bit further. It really depends if they think that if it's worth the investment in the tooling they'd need to do it for European countries, and the certification they'd have to go through, which is probably the most expensive part of the equation. But I mean, certainly those sort of devices are doing very well over here. I understand the Garmin Active Fit thing, which Ruth is reviewing at the moment for next issue of Fascinating Tech. It has done really well over Christmas in terms of sales, and that's very similar to the band in terms of what you can do. So I think there's definitely a market for that sort of thing out there.
Yeah, I think for me the wearable thing is going to take off once. I think Android Wear's already proving that the concept works. We're going to see Apple's watch where it's going to be the high end version of it. Although Apple's approach seems to be more unusual for Apple and versus Android, is more cluttered and more feature rich than Android. Usually, Android's got everything in, and Apple just go the sort of the clean best way. It seems to be the way around with the watch, although it's early days yet. We haven't seen it since the demos of it at the keynote. So, yeah, I think we'll see more stuff from that. I'd like to see Microsoft do add some more features to the band, and a bit like you were saying, I think Windows 10 is key, isn't it? That could bring us new hardware in phones and tablets, and we know that it's going to be better for desktop users. So, do you think we'll see the Windows 7 holdout switch to Windows 10 once it becomes available?
I think that's probably quite likely. Interestingly enough, I've been speaking. A lot of people have been holdouts for some time who've actually switched to 8 over this Christmas period. So I don't quite know where that's coming from, but.
I'd say the other big release for next year would be the Office Gemini, the modern app.
Of course, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's going to be pretty huge as well. And that's the latter part of the year, I guess. I think there's going to be quite a lot of stuff this year, and I think probably the biggest thing this year we don't know about yet. There'll be some new category of device or product or service we haven't actually thought about, which will be the really big thing.
Yeah. So if the Surface Mini does arrive, do you think it will be ARM based or Intel based?
Maybe neither.
Magic fairy dust based.
It'll run on Apple technology.
Well, it could run on the same chipset Apple runs on.
Yes. Yeah, I kind of expect the Surface Mini would be ARM based, but now I'm actually leaning more towards it being Intel based.
Do you think? I still don't think there will be a Surface Mini now. I think there might be a new Lumia, but
Yeah, I don't know. I think there might be. I think there could be like a signature. You know,
yeah,
I could certainly see a Surface Mini fitting in. I mean, I'm using the Surface Pro 3. I was using it on the sofa last night, and I could certainly see it being a potential replacement for my Lumia. But at the same time, it wasn't uncomfortable to use, but you can certainly feel the weight of it compared to using something like the Lumia or the Surface 2. So I do wonder whether or not there is still room for a small tablet, and I quite like that to be a Surface. Although I've heard from you guys how there is lots of good options out there.
Yeah, I mean the success I think of the Lynx 7 and 8 tablets. I don't know whether it's surprised Microsoft or whether they expected that with the licensing changes. But when you and I'm just going off the number of hits I see on the review that I posted. There's obviously a great demand for low-cost Windows tablets of that size. Now, is it the size or is it the price? And I suspect it's the price. And I can't see Microsoft competing with a £79 tablet. So a Surface Mini, if it's £200-300 or whatever, why would you buy that over a £79 one or even £100 Stream 7 or something like that, the HP one?
Yeah, no, I mean that's a good point. I just wonder whether or not that there is still room for a premium, something that directly competes with the iPad as a premium kind of aspirational device. But no, I certainly get your point that people are going to be looking at the low end of the market.
Yeah, I mean, I always wanted a Surface Mini, but I wonder whether its time has been and gone, and the low cost ones. But it's a flagship. There's nothing wrong with having a good flagship product, and maybe that's where the Surface Mini would fit in and have a complete range from a flagship phone, a flagship mini tablet, a flagship tablet, and a flagship laptop. But they don't seem to have any sign of a flagship laptop either. So I don't know. It's going to be. I think it's all tied up with Windows 10, isn't it? We'll see these new devices when Windows 10 ships, but we're going to see nothing till then.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, and I think that's where for Windows Phone, I mean, the lack of a new phone is been. I put that down to the Windows 10 release.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry, that's my printer.
3D printing a Windows Phone for you.
Yeah, Surface Mini case. Right. Before we go then, so do you want to know the results of our vote from last week?
Yay.
Yeah.
Now, so the question was, we asked what was our tech highlight of 2014. Now, I expected us to pick products, and I expected Jason to pick something Windows Phone. Gary surprised us with the zero-cost licensing for Windows, which in hindsight, it was a very good idea because it's
yes, I think that was a very good choice.
I picked the Microsoft Band because I thought it was something new, different, and Jason surprised everybody. And I noticed you got quite a lot of comments about this on Twitter as well. About you picked the iPhone 6. I did see a few people have a little few digs at you.
Yeah.
So the vote in last place. Sorry, Jason. It's the iPhone 6.
Probably says something about our listeners. That probably says something about our listenership, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
I mean, if I'd picked it and it won, I don't think I would have ever lived it down.
No. I think that was something like 2% of the vote, something like that. If I add it up.
It's a good job I didn't get an iPhone 6 for Christmas, then, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So, and then so I think that was what 2. So it was for 40. The next one was 40%. So the remainder was the winner. So it was pretty close actually between these two. But in second place was the Microsoft Band, which means Gary is the winner with the zero-cost licensing.
I think Microsoft's definitely the winner. And all us people who've got nice tablets over the Christmas period.
Yeah, and judging at the number of low-cost tablets. I've seen talking about. It's not surprising, and I think that's probably the sleeper thing of the thing that caught us out the most, or not. That's not quite what I want to say. Not caught us out, but surprised us maybe of having the biggest impact without. It's probably the item that had the biggest impact, and we've seen all these tablets. And like I said at the beginning of the show, actually, some of them reasonable quality as well, not rubbish.
Yeah, indeed.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Because I think the HP's been pretty good as well, hasn't it? It's had some good reviews.
Yes, I look. The HP
Yes.
Stream the mini tablet is really good. The quality of the screen on that is excellent. Really good.
So I just want interesting to see going forward then how that marketing play works out. Does it really? So they sell X amount of Windows 8 tablets. Do they get the revenue back in additional services, or that they would have had through a Windows license, or is the Windows license or is the Windows device at the expense of Android? So have they taken an Android device off the shelf and placed it with a Windows 8 device? So it's just, I guess, at £79, probably what they've done, and they haven't took a full Windows laptop off the shelf and replaced it with that. They haven't lost a sale to Windows. I guess they gained from Android.
And I think that's certainly anecdotally is what people were telling me they were seeing in Staples, that the salesmen were pushing people towards the Lynx as a better alternative to some of the Android tablets.
Yeah, and I guess that was the whole point of the exercise.
Yeah. Right.
So, any further thoughts on 2015 then before we wrap up?
Well, it's going to be a significant program at some point during the year.
Yeah, I think January's going to kick off the year in kind of a crazy way. I think what with the consumer preview of Windows 10 and CES always has a few surprises.
Yep.
Yeah.
Although no Microsoft there, of course.
No, and it's even though I didn't go for the last one, this is my second time I haven't been. It still feels a bit strange this time of year not being prepared for CES.
Yeah.
Although I can't say I really miss the hassle and the expense.
Yeah.
The expenses, it got very expensive, but yeah, it is always interesting to see what gets thrown up there. So CS, I guess, kicks off. It'll be next week, won't it? 6th, 7th, something like that. Yeah. So we'll usually see some announcements coming out. Some new tablets usually will be launched. Whether we'll see any new phones, maybe. I don't think we'll see anything from Microsoft.
Well, I don't think you see many new phones because Mobile World Congress is just around the corner. So that tends to be where they get launched.
Yeah, we've got that coming up soon, haven't we? As well, is that February, March?
Mid-February.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
the start of the year always seems to be a bit crazy, isn't it? It's just all happens in the first couple of months, and kind of the rest of the year it kind of dribbles out.
Yeah. So I think really we're going to be dominated by Windows 10 next year. Although Android, I've been playing with the new version of Android Lollipop, Android 5, and on my Nexus, and it's very, very polished OS now. It's amazing how far Android's come. So I think there's a lot more to come from Android, and of course we've got the Apple Watch. So we've got a big year coming up.
Yep, it's going to be very exciting, I suspect.
Yes, and we'll be here to talk about it Tuesday evenings at 8 p.m. or on the podcast on YouTube, and you can get it on any time on our podcast. So, Gary, just what's going on Fascinating Tech?
Well, we've obviously got the holiday issue out. A couple of new reviews about to go live on that from the Trek Max, which is a Bluetooth speaker with a bit of weight behind it, and very impressive. And the Edifier R1600 T111, which I've mentioned before, which is just like a studio USB, not USB audio speaker, but both of which are really good. So we'll look out for that. And the competition is still going till the end of the year. So again, remember to mention you're a TDL listener when you enter, and you'll get an extra bonus prize.
Oh, and that reminds me, I've still got one Plex Pass to give away. So email, tweet, or whatever you want. Just get in touch, say you want it, and first come, first serve. And you can have that a year's Plex Pass membership. So that gets you the Android app for free, and you can use the Xbox app and so on. So, Jace, where can we find you?
You can find me sometimes on Twitter at Database Jace.
Excellent stuff. And yeah, I think I'm into my home automation. I think I'm going to get into have a look at that this year into 2015. I love my robot, my iRobot, so I want to get more things controlled from my home.
I did do dusk to dawn controlled Christmas tree lights, which was quite fun.
Yeah, I think I did see someone post. There's a microcontroller in that works with the .NET framework that you can sort of have a bit of programming. So I think I might have to have a look at that. Get back into doing a bit of that.
Oh, that's actually must mention that actually. If anybody's interested in the Intel Galileo microcontroller PC, which was horrendously expensive, Mapmans are doing it for about £60 at the moment, maybe £69.
Oh, I might have to look at that. That's the little board, isn't it?
Yeah, the board, which was horrendously expensive at one point, but that seems a much better price.
Oh, I'll have a look at that. Right, great. Well, as we're recording this on Tuesday before New Year's Eve, I'm not quite sure when I'll get a chance to edit it. It might be with a hangover on New Year's Day, so I think we're pretty sure we'll go out on on Friday. I think so. Have a good New Year's Eve. Enjoy your tech gadgets. Gary, enjoy your tablet. So thanks to everybody that's listening to us in 2014. We do appreciate it. We wouldn't do it if you didn't listen. So we do like your company every week, and send us your comments, feedbacks, isdixon@gmail.com or ian@thedigital-lifestyle.com or at isdixon on Twitter. Send those in to me, and we'll continue talking to you in 2015. See you then.
Take care.
Look forward to it. Cheerio.
Excellent, great stuff. So I shall probably have a huge hangover when I edit this on on New Year's Day. Excellent. Right, well,